Were the Mayans visited by ancient astronauts? Were the Mayan gods who brought their advanced knowledge to ancient civilizations really gods, or were they ancient aliens? They brought their advanced knowledge to ancient civilizations. Were they gods or ancient aliens? The ancient Mayan civilization of Central America has been surprising the archaeologists and researchers for decades, while one after another intriguing discovery related to this ancient culture continues to be made. The Mayans were people obsessed with astronomy, boasting a highly advanced calendar that is still intriguing today, although the Mesoamerican calendar was not created by the Mayans. The extensions and refinements made by them were the most sophisticated. In their culture, there was a feathered god in the form of a serpent, quote unquote, who came down from the sky and taught these ancient people about astronomy, architecture, and construction, among other great things. He was known as Quetzalcoatl in the Nahuatl language of the Aztecs, or Kulkulcan in Maya. This entity was highly revered, and before his departure told the Mayans that he would one day return to Earth. This date of his return was calculated to coincide with the end of the calendar on December 21st, 2012, which caused a lot of excitement and fear, leading many to believe that this could be the beginning of the apocalypse. Although this prophecy apparently did not come true, famous researcher Eric von Daniken says he believes that this date was calculated based on our calendar, which is somewhat ambiguous in relation to its beginning, the birth of Christ. Von Daniken claims that there may be about 20 years of error around the date we think Christ was born due to miscalculations in the changes from the old Julian calendar to the current Gregorian calendar, distorting our prediction of the return of Quetzalcoatl. And this would mean that we still have a few years to see whether the Mayan predictions will really come true. But von Daniken disputes, saying that Quetzalcoatl's return would not involve a feathered serpent descending from the sky, but potentially an extraterrestrial. There is a recurring theme in the Mayan arts: human faces covered by what appear to be helmets with breathing apparatus in their mouths. Von Daniken says that these devices are cover their mouths, probably filter the air, in order to prevent infections by viruses or bacteria. The cover of King Pacal's sarcophagus, found in the Mayan city of Palenque in present-day Mexico, and is an example of this, and shows a relief that can be interpreted as a pilot inside a flying machine, displaying flames and smoke coming from the rear. While archaeologists claim that this sculpture represents the tree of life or a descent into the underworld, two important inscriptions around the tomb detail it is an ascent to the cosmos. Inside the sarcophagus, the remains of this ancient ruler were found. His body was significantly taller than the average height of the ancient Maya and appeared to have an unusual bone structure. Pacal is also known to have ruled the Mayans for 68 years and lived for 80 years, far more than the average life of that time. Did the Mayans have contact with extraterrestrials? There are still inexplicable discoveries made in relation to the ancient Mayans, which inspire curiosity and fuel the idea that they may have been visited by ancient alien gods, that is, entities from the sky. The city of Tikal, with its magnificent pyramids, is another anomaly that adds to the mystery surrounding the Mayan civilization. Discovered in a rainforest in Guatemala, Tikal was one of the largest population cultural centers of the Mayan civilization, filled with temples, palaces, pyramids, residences, monuments, and even stadiums for the ritual ball game, and it was a large city with potential to house up to 200,000 inhabitants, but with a very peculiar characteristic. It's located 40 kilometers from the nearest water source. Normally, civilizations built their cities close to a water source, but why would the Mayans have worked so hard to build a city of this size in such an inconvenient place? Von Daniken points to one of the glyphs on a stepped pyramid, where an inscription states that Tikal was a sacred place, visited by ancient gods descending from the heavens. The Mayans built impressive pyramids throughout their vast empire, 60 of which are in Tikal, and others of their most well-known pyramids, including the Temple of Quetzalcoatl, the Temple of the Sun, and the Temple of the Moon, are found in Teotihuacan, with these pyramids lined up with the 3 stars of the belt of the constellation Orion, as well as the pyramids of Giza. These Teotihuacan pyramids were built under a layer of mica, a mineral that is not found anywhere in Central America, and this material would have to be extracted and transported from the nearest mine located in Brazil, crossing a distance of more than 4,000 kilometers, and without the luxury of wheels. Mica is a type of highly conductive crystal that is used in our modern technology in radio frequency capacitors and as an insulator in high voltage equipment because it has a high resistance to heat and fire, facts that makes its presence in the underground of those pyramids still more intriguing. Another recent and very interesting discovery found below the Teotihuacan temples is the presence of mercury, and just as mica is a conductive crystal, mercury is an electrically conductive metal that is mentioned on the other side of the world in the Vedas of India, the ancient sacred texts from India, such as the Vimana's fuel source, the flying chariots of the gods. The idea of using mercury as a spacecraft fuel is not irrational to science. NASA experimented with mercury in the 1960s. During the CERT missions, the 2 spacecraft in this series, CERT-1 and CERT-2, were designed to test the concept of ion propulsion. With an ion engine, powerful magnets in the spacecraft push away small charged particles at high speeds, generating thrust. Today's ion engines commonly use krypton or xenon rather than mercury. Mercury is much heavier than either xenon or krypton, so spacecraft carrying them would be able to generate more thrust. During the CERT test missions, however, the satellite engines used mercury. Of course, mercury is also a dangerous neurotoxin, so NASA stopped using it after CERT. While conventional archaeology interprets mercury's use only as an ancient fascination for a shiny substance, but highly poisonous to humans, others believe that it may have been used on spacecraft launching platforms and as a fuel source for the technology of the ancient alien gods. And this was originally on Ancient Mysteries by N. Hale. This is on Collective Spark. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.